Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the FUNimation dub of episode 111 of Dragonball Super. Picking up where we last left off, we begin this episode with Goku out of power once Ultra Instinct has worn off, and Frieza has taken Goku towards the pillar at the center of the arena. Frieza is also aiming an energy blast towards Goku. Frieza tells Goku that he took him to a blind spot within the arena so no one else can see where they are right now. Frieza then launches the energy blast towards Goku, and this energy blast actually replenishes some of Goku's power. Frieza says that they're even now. He's talking about when Goku used some of his energy to replenish some of Frieza's power before Namek exploded during Dragon Ball Z's Frieza saga. And Frieza admits that he still needs Goku participating in the Tournament of Power, especially when it comes to fighting Jiren. Frieza is about to head off to a different part of the arena, but he stops and questions Goku about if Goku heard what the majority of the Divine Beings were talking about with regards to the power that Goku achieved in the previous episode. Goku says he didn't, so Frieza tells Goku that the Divine Beings call the power that Goku achieved autonomous Ultra Instinct, or Ultra Instinct for short. Frieza then heads off to a different part of the arena, and Goku wonders if he could defeat Jiren if he reactivates Ultra Instinct. Elsewhere, we see Hit is continuing to try and fight Jiren even after his sneak attack from the previous episode didn't work, and Jiren gets to see the time skip ability in action. The Omni Kings take an interest in the fight between Hit and Jiren. Hit says something along the lines about how he now has a better understanding of the attacks that Goku went up against now that Hit, is going up against Jiren's attacks. Jiren questions if Hit truly believes he can stop him, Jiren, and Hit responds that he has a job to fulfill. Top admits that Hit is putting up a decent fight against Jiren, and Hit prepares another attack against Jiren. So Hit is able to enter a pocket dimension, Hit is able to enter a pocket dimension that he creates by storing the time he skips, and when he does this, he leaves behind an illusion of himself in the main dimension. Whis explains this to some of the characters from Universe 7 in the spectator seats, but Jiren manages to detect and defend himself from the strategy, which surprises Champa, and Vados acknowledges that Jiren's power is a force to be reckoned with. Hit and Jiren continue to fight, but Jiren is able to adapt to Hit's time skip ability. Vados points out that none of Hit's attacks have proved effective against Jiren, and Fua begins to panic. Champa and Shin both wonder why Hit is still using the time skip ability even though it isn't working, and eventually Jiren says something along the lines about how Hit is just delaying the inevitable or wasting time. Hit repeats that he has a job to fulfill, and we see that Goku is watching the fight between Hit and Jiren from some nearby rubble. The Universe 6 Namekians find Goku, and they're preparing to attack him with energy blasts, but Gohan and Piccolo arrive. They deflect the energy blasts and say that they will be the opponents of the Universe 6 Namekians. The Universe 6 Namekians are surprised to see that Universe 7 has a Namekian on their team, but the Universe 6 Namekians gladly accept Gohan and Piccolo's challenge. The thin Universe 6 Namekian is voiced by Brandon Potter, while the bulky Universe 6 Namekian wearing gloves is voiced by Jared Green. Elsewhere, we see Vegeta is fighting Ribrianne, and eventually Rosie joins the fight to help Ribrianne out, something that Jerez and Universe 2 Supreme Kai both consider to be heartwarming. Vegeta launches a series of energy blasts towards Ribrianne and Rosie, and this ends up creating a dust cloud. Rosie and Ribrianne take advantage of this dust cloud to hide among some nearby rubble, or they hide within some nearby rubble. And Vegeta thinks that they went off to a different part of the arena, so Vegeta goes off to a different part of the arena. Ribrianne admits that she's starting to lose hope in the possibility of the Universe 2 team winning the Tournament of Power, and Rosie responds to this by slapping Ribrianne, and Rosie also gives a quick speech on the power of love. Ribrianne responds to this speech with her confidence restored. Yes, Ribrianne's confidence is restored, and she thanks Rosie for this pep talk. Elsewhere, we see that the Universe 6 Saiyans are also watching the fight between Hit and Jiren. They're watching from a distance, and Caulifla thinks that they should join the fight, but Kaba says that he suspects that Hit has a plan of some kind. Kaba brings up how Hit is making a point to block when Jiren attacks him, and Kaba suspects that Hit is waiting for the right time to counterattack. Hit is thinking within his mind about how he's memorized the timing of Jiren's attacks, and Hit thinks now is the time to finish things. So Hit uses one of those shockwave punches to distract Jiren so that Hit can land an actual punch on Jiren, and this is no ordinary punch. This punch traps Jiren in what Hit calls a time prison. And after Hit attacks Jiren with this punch, Jiren is pushed towards the edge of the arena, and a purple outline now surrounds Jiren. Goku goes to get a closer look at the fight. He's still near some rubble, but he moves in closer to get a better look at the fight. And Goku suspects that this time prison is Hit's ultimate attack. Hit is holding out one of his hands. This hand has a purple outline, like Jiren has a purple outline right now. And the Universe 6 Saiyans, like Goku, the Universe 6 Saiyans head off to some nearby rubble so that they can get a closer look at the fight. Kay and Vermont are surprised that Jiren is paralyzed right now, and Vados clarifies that Hit continuing to use the time skip ability earlier was a way to strengthen this time prison, which Fua and Champa are pleased to hear. Hit assures the Universe 6 Saiyans that he can handle Jiren, and he encourages the Universe 6 Saiyans to head off elsewhere because they have their own roles that they need to fulfill for the sake of Universe 6. The Universe 6 Saiyans agree to go along with Hit's instructions, and Champa comments about how Hit is usually known to be a lone wolf, or the lone wolf type. Vados suspects that Hit plans to use all of his power to keep Jiren paralyzed until the time limit for the Tournament of Power runs out. So Vados figures that Hit is counting on the other members of the Universe 6 team that are still participating in the tournament to eliminate the other fighters from the Tournament of Power. Although Jiren is struggling, he is starting to walk again despite being trapped in the time prison, and Hit realizes that his power won't last long enough to keep Jiren paralyzed until the time limit runs out. So Hit decides that he needs to take a big gamble, and he acknowledges that, Hit acknowledges that taking a big gamble isn't the assassin way, but he needs to take this big gamble, or he has no other choice but to take this big gamble, even if it's not the assassin way. So Hit creates an energy blast, and he lunges towards Jiren, And although Jiren is struggling still, Jiren is able to break the energy blast, and he also acts dismissive towards the idea of an assassin's pride. Champa is baffled that Jiren was able to stop Hit's ultimate attack and break free from the time prison. Vados comments along the lines about how Jiren's power seems to transcend time itself. Tien and Shin are also surprised. Tien and Shin are also surprised by what Jiren was able to accomplish just now, and the divine beings of Universe 11 make comments along the lines about how this proves that Jiren is the Universe 11 team's ace fighter. Eventually, Jiren starts to attack Hit, and eventually Jiren blasts Hit off the arena, and the Grand Minister declares Hit's elimination from the Tournament of Power. Vermod comments along the lines about how no one can defeat Jiren, and Champa actually praises Hit for doing his best during the Tournament of Power. Hit admits that he figured he lost when his gamble didn't work, but Champa assures Hit that his efforts won't be in vain. Vados responds by acknowledging that even if Hit's Vados says that even if Hit's efforts weren't in vain, she still says that Hit's elimination puts the Universe 6 team at a real disadvantage. In the arena itself, somewhere within the arena itself, Kaba says that he refuses to let Hit's efforts be in vain. The Grand Minister declares that the time limit for the Tournament of Power has reached the halfway mark now, and the sky changes color to, the color of the sky changes to green after the Grand Minister declares that the Tournament of Power has reached the halfway mark. So Jiren tells, after the sky changes color and after the Grand Minister declares that the time limit has reached the halfway mark, Jiren tells Top and Dispo that he will let Top and Dispo take care of the rest of the fighters still participating in the tournament. Jiren says something along the lines about how the fighters that could challenge him have failed, and he says this while he's looking at Goku, who's watching from a distance. Jiren then enters a meditative state, and the Grand Minister thinks that this is a sign of Jiren's confidence in victory. The Grand Minister says that, the Grand Minister responds to Jiren taking a meditative state by saying something along the lines about how this must be a sign of Jiren's confidence in in victory. And Vermod says that there's no one else that can threaten Jiren at this point in time. Goku reacts to the comment that Jiren made not too long ago, and two fighters from Universe 3 try to attack Jiren while he's in his meditative state. The robot-looking fighter is voiced by Sean Gann, while the fighter who's wearing a uniform with the letter P on it is voiced by Garrett Storms. So, these two Universe 3 fighters try to attack Jiren, but they are unable to break through the energy barrier that Jiren created once he entered this meditative state. Top and Dispo say something along the lines about how not being able to break through Jiren's energy barrier means that someone was never worthy of fighting Jiren in the first place. Goku is determined to have a rematch with Jiren, and that is how we end this episode. So this episode was another notable episode. This episode follows after the two-parter which led to Goku achieving Ultra Instinct, and some fans, for the most part, I've seen most fans say that they do like this episode that follows up after the two-part episode relating to Ultra Instinct being achieved. And that mostly has to do with the fact that this was a fight between Hit and Jiren. I thought the fight between Hit and Jiren was pretty cool like other fans, so I definitely understand why this episode is very popular among some fans. But there was also a detail about this episode that was very surprising from some fans. Yes, I remember some fans being very surprised about this back when the sub version of this episode aired. And some of my relatives watching the dub for this episode, they're dub-only viewers, they were surprised by this particular detail too. To be more specific, the detail in question is about how Hit was eliminated from the Tournament of Power at this point in time. And this surprised most fans, myself included, because most fans had expected Hit to be one of, if not the last, eliminations for the Universe 6 team. Some fans even said that they thought Hit would be one of the last eliminations in the Tournament of Power overall. So at this point in time, only half of the Universe 6 team members are still participating in the Tournament of Power. Those team members are the 3 Saiyans and the 2 Namekians. Yes, Universe 6's 3 Saiyans and 2 Namekians are the members of the Universe 6 team that are still participating in the Tournament of Power now. And speaking of the Universe 6 Namekians, I thought it was pretty cool that we actually got to see them in action in this episode. Granted, their scenes were pretty brief compared to what else was going on in the episode, but I still did appreciate seeing the Universe 6 Namekians take some form of action, even if it was only brief. Now, some fans have also noticed something about the bulkier of the 2 Namekians. Yes, of the 2 Universe 6 Namekians, some fans had noticed how the bulkier Namekian is wearing gloves. Some fans have commented that this bulkier Universe 6 Namekian's design actually reminds them of the design for Lord Slug, who was the main villain of the 4th Dragon Ball Z movie, Lord Slug. Yes, and I can understand that. I think the gloves probably do help with why some fans do see a similarity in the designs. Lord Slug wore gloves too, so yeah, I can understand the design. Yeah, I can understand the design. Lord Slug wore gloves, and he had a bulkier design too. It's not exactly the same. I should clarify that the design's not exactly the same. It's just more like broad stroke similarities. But I can still understand how some fans would make that connection with those broad stroke similarities. But back with but yes, with regards to the Universe 6 team overall. Some fans did consider it rather heartwarming how Hit was looking out for his teammates and he was concerned about the well-being of Universe 6. And I do agree with those fans. Hit may be an assassin, but he still does have some human qualities to him. Or, well, he's an alien, but I trust you understand what I mean when I say he has human qualities to him. It's kind of like why I liked, that also kind of highlights why I liked the Hit 2-parter that happened during the Breather episodes after the main story of the Zamasu saga was finished, but before the Universe Survival saga started. I thought the Hit 2-parter also did a good job at presenting Hit in a more human light. Again, I don't mean human in the literal sense since Hit's an alien, but human in a more... showing him in a more human light, not in the literal sense. I hope you know what I mean when I say that. But in any case, yeah, I thought seeing Hit show some concern for his teammates and his universe was pretty heartwarming. And with other surprises in this episode, yes, Hit being eliminated when he was eliminated wasn't the only surprise for some fans. Some fans were surprised that Frieza was actually willing to replenish some of Goku's power. And this was a reversal of what happened in Dragon Ball Z. Like I mentioned in the recap, in Dragon Ball Z's Frieza saga, Goku actually replenished some of Frieza's power before Namek exploded, although Frieza acted like an ungrateful jerk in response to that. But here, yes, Frieza actually restored some of Goku's power, although Frieza, of course, didn't do it for altruistic reasons. Frieza pretty much admitted that he still needed Goku to participate in the Tournament of Power. And so, yes, Frieza had selfish reasons for doing so. That's in his character. But it was still a surprise all the same. But some fans did appreciate the reversal of roles with regards to Goku and Frieza and replenishing power. And Frieza was the one that revealed to Goku that the power he achieved is called Ultra Instinct, since Frieza overheard what the Divine Beings were talking about in the previous episode. And yes, to continue on with what I mentioned in the recap and thoughts for the previous episode, they do call it autonomous Ultra Instinct throughout the course of the Funimation dub of this episode. So it does seem pretty safe that the Funimation dub is going to call the form autonomous Ultra Instinct. And most fans do suspect that this is probably due to mouth flap or lip flap reasons, because the Japanese term has more syllables than the English term Ultra Instinct. So yes, I think it's safe to say that autonomous Ultra Instinct is being used for mouth flap, lip flap reasons. But yeah, you can call it Ultra Instinct for short. I probably will call it Ultra Instinct for short, but I might occasionally mention autonomous Ultra Instinct, or I might say autonomous Ultra Instinct or Ultra Instinct for short. I figured I'd just give a heads up for future recap and thoughts videos. So besides that, now that Hit has been eliminated from the Tournament of Power, Jiren thinks that it's no longer necessary for him to continue fighting for the time being. So Jiren is now in a meditative state, and it looks like we won't see Jiren in action again until much later on during the Tournament of Power. Of course, those who have been following along with the sub version or read up on what happened in the later episodes know what to expect about that, but for the dub-only viewers, we'll cross those bridges when we eventually get to them. So, otherwise, though, yes, the Tournament of Power, in-universe, the Tournament of Power, the time limit for the Tournament of Power has reached the halfway mark, and the sky has changed to a green color now to reflect the halfway mark for the Tournament of Power. So, yes, I think it's safe to say that the intensity is going to increase with the later half of the Tournament of Power's time limit. But of course, for the dub-only viewers, we'll cross those bridges when we eventually get to them. So, otherwise, I would say that's about it for this particular episode. So, yes, to quickly summarize, I like the fight between Hit and Jiren. I thought that was a pretty cool fight, though I also admit I was surprised that Hit actually ended up being eliminated from the... I was surprised that Hit ended up being eliminated from the Tournament of Power at this point in time, because I expected Hit to be one of the last eliminations from the Universe 6 team, and maybe even one of the last eliminations from the Tournament of Power overall. So this definitely caught me by surprise. And yes, I also did like how we got to see more of Hit's I did like how we got to see more of Hit's human qualities in a figurative sense, not a literal sense, since he's an alien in this episode. I did like seeing more of Hit's figurative human qualities in this episode, like how Hit's figurative human qualities were shown in the Hit 2-parter. I thought that episode complemented those two-parters, that two-parter very well. Or yes, I think that two-parter and this episode complement each other with regards to showing Hit's figurative human qualities. And I also did like how we got to see the Universe 6 Namekians in action, even though it was only brief compared to what else was going on in the episode. And yes, Frieza helping Goku out by restoring some of his power was a pretty clever surprise too, that references Dragon Ball Z, although Frieza's reasons for doing so fit his character, being for selfish reasons. And yes, now that in-universe we've reached the halfway mark for the time limit for the Tournament of Power, so that means that the intensity is likely to increase. So there we go. I would say that's it for this particular episode. So as of this video, we've now discussed the Funimation dub of episode 111 of Dragon Ball Super on this channel. Take care, and until next time.